Hi, I'm Pattu from FreeFinCal. So today I want to talk about an asset allocation mistake that many investors do. If you ask people what their asset allocation is, they will look up an investment portal and say my asset allocation is this 65% equity, whatever 35% fixed income, and so on. But the mistake these portals make is that, for example, if you hold a hybrid fund, for example, an aggressive hybrid fund, a multi asset fund, or a balanced advantage fund, these portals will consider the fixed income or the bonds in the hybrid funds portfolio as fixed income and include that in the debt component of your overall asset allocation. Well, technically speaking, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you are going to look at it like from an academic point of view, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's the way it should be done. But practically speaking, I think you should not consider the fixed income held by an equity oriented hybrid fund as fixed income at all. For example, if you are holding an aggressive hybrid fund, an aggressive hybrid fund will typically hold about 70% equity, direct stocks, and it will not have any arbitrage. So just 70% of stocks, and 30% will be bonds. So that 30%, in my opinion, should not be counted towards the fixed income part of your asset allocation. The reason I'm saying that is that this aggressive hybrid fund, overall, the fund itself, if you look at its now and if you study its ups and downs, and I'll talk about how to look at risk in another video. But I've already talked about this several times, but there are many new people who are following me, so they may not know. So, if you look at the ups and downs of the aggressive hybrid fund, its risk or its volatility, however way you look at it, and there are different ways to look at it, it's very comparable to that of a 100% equity fund. 100% equity fund means small cap fund, large cap fund, mid cap fund, multi cap fund, flexi cap fund, those kind of diversified equity funds. So the risk is very similar. An equity oriented hybrid fund, all aggressive hybrid funds are equity oriented. Almost all balanced advantage funds, many balanced advantage funds are equity oriented. Just maybe one or two maybe exceptions. Dynamic asset allocation funds, many of them are equity oriented. Multi asset funds, many of them are equity oriented. So, but if you consider these equity oriented funds, their risk is very similar to that of a 100% equity fund or a diversified equity fund, and therefore it's better for you to consider the fund itself as 100% equity, that is the aggressive hybrid fund or a multi-asset fund, as pure equity, and separately hold enough fixed income, pure fixed income, and that will stabilize your portfolio better. In my opinion, considering though the bonds held by those hybrid funds as fixed income is a mistake. The only exception I would say is an arbitrage fund. An arbitrage fund will have 65 to 70% of hedged equity, that is equity held as derivatives, and that has a risk which is similar to fixed income, and the rest will be bonds. So arbitrage fund, although classified as a hybrid fund, it can be treated as a slightly risky fixed income fund. So that arbitrage fund holding you can consider as 100% fixed income, and its risk is similar to that of somewhere between a money market fund and an ultra short term kind of fund. Assuming there are no bond defaults on a typical day, the risk will be like that. So other than that, equity oriented funds you consider as equity, debt oriented hybrid funds you consider as debt. For example, Parak conservative hybrid, although it holds 15% or less than 20% of equity, you treat that as 100% debt. And what about Parak dynamic asset allocation fund? That is a problem. Because it can hold significantly higher equity. My suggestion is that fund is suitable only for people with a lot of experience, who understand risks, who are just not chasing after returns, but you have the corpus to chase after returns. Then you can consider the dynamic asset allocation fund as debt oriented in your portfolio. That's what I am doing, but it's slightly a risky decision because it has got significant equity, and it can crash noticeably when there is a market crash, and so you have to be a little careful with that. Or if you are not comfortable with that, you can say that separate equity, you can consider that as a separate equity exposure. That's up to you. But still, I would say you have to be a little careful. It's not for everybody. Ultimately, the summary I want to give out is, for your asset allocation, it is better for you to not depend on somebody else, some portal, and create your own spreadsheet and define your own fixed income and equity and create your own asset allocation. Bye bye.